What is up, my fellow virgins? I know y'all ain't seen me in a minute because I've been, the Matrix been having me synced in lately, bro. But I'm gonna be back better than ever. I'm already, it's been only like 9 days, but I'm about to react to 4 UFC fighters that prove everyone wrong. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm starting to know who's gonna be on this list. Because last week, I think it was last week, man, my man Robert Whitaker got his ass whooped. But it is what it is.
One thing I've noticed, we as MMA fans are kind of harsh, especially towards newcomers.
No matter what he does,
we actually are.
People don't like him.
There are a select few fighters who are judged a little differently.
Why is everybody overlooking you? A lot of people's knock on you is maybe it's the cardio. You couldn't breathe as much. Didn't you get nose surgery, by the way?
And no matter what they do, they just cannot win.
Do you think in the UFC they play favorites? Do you think they want certain people to be the champion?
Oh, 100%. It's a business.
They win
all the time.
in a fight, the other guy had an off night. They score an impressive knockout. Fluke. They show up to weigh in absolutely shredded. Steroids. No, really. A few unlucky athletes get no respect, whether it be due to their fighting style or another reason. But eventually, there comes a point where they're just too good to deny. Usually it doesn't really happen because very few people end up succeeding in this game. But when we're wrong, we're wrong.
Everyone's gonna have an opinion, I guess, right? They say if you ain't have no haters, you ain't doing nothing.
Welcome to the fighting business.
Look, Aljamain Sterling, I ain't gonna lie, at first I wasn't fucking with him, but now he got my respect. Ever since he beat Henry Cejudo, he got my respect.
Today, we're going to look at 4 fighters who silenced the MMA world and left no doubt. It took them time, efforts, lots of patience, and a whole lot of wins, but they finally made it. And the least we can do is respect them. Buckle up. Number 1, Aljamain Sterling.
He should
At
be
UFC
number 1.
259, Aljamain Sterling became the bantamweight champion by disqualification.
And that is it.
That's it.
Wow. I don't like that a title can be won this way.
You don't even see this often in WWE, and yet it happened in the UFC. And understandably, people were not happy.
I felt nauseous, so I ended up throwing up later that night. But people were messaging me saying, stop posting videos and pictures with you of the belt.
For once, paper champion seemed like an appropriate label because we all...
Yeah, at that time, Aljamain Sterling, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. You ain't really deserved that shit. But now you actually proved yourself, so it's a different ballgame. You're cool now, but back then, nah, bro. You was on some nut ass shit. Biggest troll.
saw the fight.
He had dropped Aljamain, and he had taken him down and tripped him, slammed him to the ground a few times, and it looked like he was in control.
Petr Yan was well in control, but a split-second lapse of judgment led to the illegal knee, and Aljamain Sterling capitalized on it with a brilliant acting performance. The paper champion was a marked man. Petr Yan was going to set it right, and at UFC 273, no mercy got that chance.
Для меня просто важно выйти, побить его, так скажем, закрыть этот вопрос для общественности, для лично себя, чтобы вернуть.
It was a foregone conclusion, and I even had a video ready to go, but Sterling ended up winning. It was a close fight. Could have gone either
Definitely was a close fight.
way, but the Funk Master walked out of the octagon still the title holder.
That was
and
fucked
still
up. I seen
a
that
paper
live.
champion to a large majority.
Yeah, I thought that the judges blew that one. I thought I had it 3-2 the other way.
Judges gave him that one. Beating a one-armed TJ Dillashaw didn't help him one bit, but then Triple C made his glorious return to the sport.
The way I see it, I am the champ, he's the challenger. I'm here to do my job. I'm excited to put this clown 6 feet under.
And he shouldered the honor of being the one to finally end that fluke run of Sterling. And Sterling beat him too, fair and square, without a hint of controversy.
I gotta go back and rewatch that fight, but he surprised me with the wrestling. Thank you, man. You did too.
And on that night, MMA fans finally gave him the credit he deserved. I did too.
I don't think Cejudo looked
Yep, everybody did that day.
bad. I don't think he looked rusty or anything. It's a weird situation where it's just Aljamain was just a bit better. Crazy to say.
Sean O'Malley.
I feel like Sean O'Malley, everybody knew he was one of those. Like, I don't think he's, like, a bad fighter. He's actually a good fighter. His striking is actually pretty good. It's just, I don't know. Just the people he fought was just crazy. Like, the Petr Yan fight was the closest fight I ever seen in my life. But I thought Petr Yan won, but the judges just looked at it different.
Sean O'Malley was the prospect of the first season of the Contender Series. He earned the UFC contract with a spectacular knockout, but more importantly, he had star potential.
Give that kid a contract! Hey, if there's one guy on this show that resembles the same... Welcome to the UFC, O'Malley!
Sean O'Malley is that thing. He's the guy.
O'Malley, however, took a different route and had no problem beating up fighters who were clearly less skilled than him.
I just feel like I'm the people's champ. I have more eyeballs on me in the bantamweight division than anyone, and that's what I consider the champ.
With each victory, he built his popularity, but there were a few hiccups along the way. The controversial loss to Cheeto.
That wasn't a controversial loss. My man Cheeto hit him with a calf kick. His shit fucked up, and he got fucked up with an elbow. He lost. I'm getting sick of that controversial shit. He lost, bro.
Vera was supposed to be his downfall,
man Cheeto did his
but he
thing.
won his next 3 fights and soon shared the octagon with former champion and divisional boogeyman Piotr Jan. He sort of fought Pedro Munoz for a round before a bad eye poke ruined the fight, but
wasn't an eye poke. That nigga started. He got scared because he started seeing that bony motherfucker start throwing him strikes. That shit kind of hurt him a little bit. Cause when your eye hurt, this eye twitch. But that wasn't the case. You see it right here as the video. You see it right now. Let me show y'all this. Educate y'all. You see this? His eye is still open. Why his eyes like that's no. We're not done. If people really know what happened to your eye, you do this. You won't just. You feel me? That's how you like. Look. You see how easy that is? That's what he's doing. Fuck out of here.
But this was his true test. It was Piotr Jan.
O'Malley hasn't even earned that spot. He used his mouth to get him that fight.
No mercy.
Bryce Mitchell, I ain't gonna lie. I thought he was gonna win his last fight, but he lost. So
was a big favorite to win, and fans and fighters alike predicted that Jan was going to smash the brittle Conor McGregor wannabe at UFC 280.
I'm gonna go with Jan in this one over O'Malley. I think Jan's style does not favor O'Malley.
I'm going Peter Yan. I think there's a chance Sean gets him, but not that big of a chance.
Instead of a one-round demolition, it was a contender for Fight of the Year, and the supposedly brittle Sean O'Malley hung in there with the former champion for all 3 rounds.
What a fight! Sean O'Malley, Piotr Yan go the distance.
Both Jan and O'Malley had their moments, and sure, the decision was controversial and could have gone to Jan, but even if it did, I'd still be here, telling everyone that O'Malley proved us wrong. Rolian Paiva to Pedro Munoz is a big step up in competition, but Munoz to Piotr Jan, astronomical. But Sugar handled himself pretty well, and now he is set to challenge Aljamain Sterling at UFC 292.
that card's gonna be crazy.
Better hope you look better than that.
You got a whole year.
Look better than that.
First Sterling and now O'Malley. Kind of harsh on bantamweights, aren't we? Or maybe the lighter weight classes in general. Number 3.
It better not be Alexander Volkanovski, because if it is, bro, nobody ever doubted him, bro.
3. Alexander Volkanovski. I know what you're thinking. Why the hell is Volk here?
Thank you.
He is the featherweight world champion, possibly one of the all-time greatest 5 title defenses, but let's rewind the clock to UFC 251. The immediate rematch between Max Holloway, the former champion, and Volkanovski was razor close.
Say nothing to you,
and
bro.
while Volk retained, many felt that Max had exposed him as a transitional champion.
I will say I thought Max won. Volkanovski's not going to be appreciated by the fans because they don't think that he really won the fight and deserves the belt or earned the belt.
I had Max winning the fight. I thought he won the fight.
What?
It was only a matter of time. The 145-pound division was full of killers, and there was no way Alexander was going to beat all of them. Right?
And he did.
Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie stood no chance against the now bald featherweight champion, but his real test was always going to be Max Holloway, a guy he already beat twice, but the trilogy was simply inevitable.
I'm known for taking damage, and he's known for not giving it, so let's get it.
And at UFC 276, Max Holloway was going to finish what he started. That didn't happen. In fact, this time around, Holloway could not even win a single round, and Volk finally closed the chapter with a 50-45 masterclass. The handful of naysayers that remained even after 276 went into hiding in the aftermath of UFC 284 as Volkanovski handed Islam, the lightweight champion, his toughest fight to date.
Nothing wrong with challenging yourselves. I'm a better fighter because of this. The featherweights, you better watch out.
Volkanovski is sort of a special case. We knew he was good, but refused to admit that he was great. Great like Jose Aldo and Max Holloway.
Bro, I know Jose Aldo is him. I respect him, but like, bro, he got knocked out from Conor McGregor, bro. You ain't gonna sit here and lie.
For him. Newsflash, he is. It's okay to admit it now.
It is okay.
Number 4, Dricus du Plessis. The number 1 contender
You my nigga, right?
for Israel's middleweight title is Dricus du Plessis.
This is my African brother right here. Let's go. What's up?
Imagine saying that a few years ago, or hell, even a couple of months ago before he fought Bobby Knuckles.
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours, son.
Dricus entered the UFC with a very impressive record, 14-2, all finishes. But one fight under the UFC banner, and we all saw him as the next Derek Brunson.
Everybody overlooking me hasn't stepped in the cage with me. At the end of the day, if you ask any opponent, they'll tell you.
He was tough, entertaining, and more than good enough to stick around the top 10, but he was never going to challenge the absolute elite of the division. DDP was just awkward.
He's a little bit goofy. He's a little goofy, but he gonna tell you he gonna win, and he gonna go out there and he gonna try.
And he fought like a man possessed. And while he won fights against the likes of Darren Till and Derek Brunson, the MMA fandom was still skeptical about his overall potential. He was too clumsy and labored to be at the top of the mountain. And as soon as it was announced that Robert frickin' Whittaker was his next opponent, we all gathered around to witness another hype train meeting its unfortunate end.
Robert Whittaker versus the world. I think the only person in the world that beats Robert Whittaker right now, or that can, is Rob Stein.
Whittaker was going to humiliate him, just as he had done to the other middleweights, but in the featured bout of UFC 290, we finally realized there was a lot of brilliance in that berserk madness of DDP, and even someone like Whittaker could not deal with the pressure and physicality of the South African native. More importantly, Dricus demonstrated that he was a student of the game as his southpaw jaw disrupted Whittaker from his rhythm and won him the fight. A second-round TKO over Robert Whittaker, an all-time great middleweight who has only lost to Israel at 185. That's all I need to say.
And for me, it was one of the biggest moments of my not only career but life. To share the cage with a legend like Robert Whittaker.
In the words of Joe Rogan, Dricus du Plessis is for real. Going through this list, and we have 2 world champions in Volk and Sterling, and the next title challengers in OMalley and Dricus. They were counted out and underestimated time and time again, and yet here we are. That's how good these guys are. And well, it took some time for us to realize, better late than never.
Man, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I hope Izzy whoop his ass, bro. I'm getting sick of this African nigga shit, bro.